Imagine a world without the iPhone, without sleek MacBooks, without a digital music revolution sparked by a single device called the iPod. Now, imagine the mind behind it all, a man who saw the future before anyone else. Steve Jobs, the visionary co-founder of Apple, was a relentless innovator, a perfectionist, and at times a ruthless leader. But what made him so extraordinary? What can we learn from his journey? Welcome to this audiobook summary of Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson, a biography that goes beyond the legend to reveal the man behind the Apple logo. Over the next few chapters, we'll explore the defining moments of his life, his struggles, his triumphs, his failures, and the lessons that shaped him. Part 1. The early years, a rebel in the making. Every great story has a beginning, and for Steve Jobs, it started in a humble garage in Los Altos, California. But before Apple, before even the idea of personal computing, there was a young boy who saw the world differently. Adopted by Paul and Clara Jobs, Steve grew up with a love for electronics and an intense sense of curiosity. His early experiences at Hewlett-Packard, alongside Steve Wozniak, ignited a passion that would later define his career. Jobs was a misfit. He dabbled in counterculture, experimented with LSD, and even took a spiritual journey to India in search of enlightenment. But what set him apart was his ability to blend technology with artistry. His brief stint at Atari gave him a taste of the tech industry, but Jobs wasn't just interested in building machines. He wanted to change how people interacted with them. One lesson from these years? Think differently even when it makes you an outsider. Jobs refused to conform, and that defiance became the seed of his innovation. Part 2. The birth of Apple. A revolution begins. In 1976, inside a small garage, Jobs and Wozniak built the first Apple computer. They had no grand master plan, just an obsession with making computers personal. The Apple, I was a modest start, but the Apple II, it was a game changer. It introduced the world to personal computing, and soon Apple was on a meteoric rise. But success came with challenges. As Apple grew, so did Jobs' intensity. He demanded perfection, pushing his team to their limits. This drive led to the creation of the Macintosh, the first computer with a graphical user interface, a product that would redefine computing forever. Yet, his perfectionism made him difficult to work with, and by 1985, he was ousted from his own company. The lesson? Passion and vision can drive success, but leadership requires balance. Jobs' brilliance was undeniable, but his lack of emotional intelligence cost him dearly. Part 3. Failure, Reinvention, and the Road Back. Most people would crumble after being forced out of their own company, but Steve Jobs? He turned failure into fuel. He founded Next, a company that pushed the boundaries of computer science. Though Next struggled commercially, its technology later became the foundation of macOS. At the same time, Jobs took a chance on a small animation studio called Pixar, transforming it into the leader in animated films. Toy Story was a breakthrough, proving that risk-taking and reinvention were part of Jobs' DNA. When Apple was floundering in the late 90s, it made a bold move. It brought Jobs back. And this time he had learned an invaluable lesson. Failure isn't the end. It's a stepping stone to reinvention. Part 4. The Second Coming. The Apple Renaissance. The late 90s saw the return of Steve Jobs, and with him, Apple's greatest era. He streamlined the company, introduced the iMac, and eventually changed the world with the iPod. But his genius didn't stop at making great products. It was in how he marketed them. Jobs understood the power of storytelling, turning product launches into cultural events. Then came the iPhone. It wasn't just a phone, it was a revolution in the palm of your hand. This single device reshaped industries from music to communication to photography. And Jobs' philosophy? Design isn't just about how something looks, it's about how it works. Despite battling cancer, he continued to push Apple forward, launching the iPad and expanding Apple into new territories. His unwavering focus on excellence solidified Apple's legacy. Part 5. Legacy and Lessons from a Visionary. On October 5, 2011, Steve Jobs passed away, leaving behind a legacy that few could match. But what did his journey teach us? First, innovation comes from passion and persistence. Jobs never stopped pushing boundaries, never settled for mediocrity. Second, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Apple products were revolutionary because they were intuitive. Finally, the best way to predict the future is to create it. Jobs didn't wait for change. He made it happen. He was far from perfect. He was difficult, demanding, and often ruthless. But his unwavering belief in his vision changed the world forever. Conclusion. So, what can you take away from Steve Jobs' story? Whether you're an entrepreneur, an artist, or a dreamer, the message is clear. Think differently. Take risks. And above all, never stop creating. If you enjoyed this summary and want to dive deeper into the life of Steve Jobs, consider reading the full biography by Walter Isaacson. And if you'd like more inspiring stories from visionary leaders, don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for our next audiobook summary. Until next time, keep innovating, keep pushing boundaries, and keep believing in the impossible.